Hello, my name is Shelby Mata, and I'm going to be going over the brachial plexus today. Um, so to first start, we're going to go over the remi. So that's C5, C6, C7, C8, and T1. And these are the vertebrae that the brachial plexus originates from. So the C5, C6, those connect. C7 is by itself, and then the C8 and T1 connect. So this segment of the brachial plexus is called the roots. The next segment that I have not drawn yet, those are called trunks. And so these two segments together make up the supraclavicular portion. Okay. So right off of the bat, we have on these roots two nerves that we need to draw. So off of that C5 segment, or C5 portion of the root, we have the dorsal scapular. And then off of C5, C6, C6 and C7, we have the long thoracic. Okay, so for this portion, I'm going to be doing the nerves in green, and then what they innervate in blue. So the long thoracic innervates the serratus anterior, and then the dorsal scapular innervates the rhomboids, so both major and minor. And it also innervates the levator scapulae. Okay. So, really quick, I'm gonna redraw this C7 and parts of this 8. Okay. So, for the trunks, these just all extend out. And so we have the superior, middle, and inferior. And then off of the superior trunk, we have two nerves. So we have the nerve to the subclavius. And then we have the suprascapular nerve. And those innervate, this nerve to the subclavius innervates the subclavius. And then for the suprascapular, it innervates the supraspinatus, infraspinatus, and then some portions or parts of the shoulder joint. Okay, so, and that's actually the end of the supraclavicular portion of the brachial plexus. So I'm going to draw this imaginary line here. And anatomically, that line equals the clavicle. So the supraclavicular, that's that portion of the brachial plexus that is superior to the clavicle. So then anything below it is inferior, so it's the infraclavicular. Okay, portion. So anything after this point is the infraclavicular portion. So each of these trunks break up into two segments. And this segment is called the divisions. So we have anterior, posterior, anterior, posterior, and then this inferior trunk swaps. So the posterior is on top and the anterior is on the bottom. So our next portion is called the cords. So these top two anterior, always draw like that. These top two anterior divisions meet up to create one cord. Then all of the posterior divisions come together to make up another cord. And then this anterior cord is all by itself down here. So I'm so sorry. This anterior division always gives me trouble. So we're going to make this line a little bit higher. Okay, so this down here is the medial cord. We have the posterior cord and then the lateral cord. And on these cords, this is where a majority or a lot of the nerves are. So this medial has 3. Posterior also has 3. And then this lateral has 1. And then I just also wanted to note that the length that I've drawn them is not a scale to how they are on the body. It's just I need to stagger them just for my handwriting purposes. Obviously, it's very big. So this lateral cord, we have the lateral pectoral. Then we have the upper and lower subscapularis. Subscap. I'm going to just do subscap so it's done a bit, but just know that it's the subscapularis is that fold. And then here we have thoracodorsal. Down here, we have the medial pectoral. And note that on that medial cord, all of these nerves start with medial, so it's a lot easier to remember that way. So you have the medial antebrachial cutaneous nerve. And then we have the medial brachial cutaneous. Okay, so now for the innervations. So this top cord, the lateral cord, for this lateral pectoral nerve, it innervates the pectoral major. For the upper and lower subscapularis, it innervates the subscapularis. And it also innervates on this lower subscapularis, it innervates the teres major. For the thoracodorsal nerve, the lats, or the latissimus dorsi. So down here for that medial pectoral, it innervates the pectoral major as well as the minor. And then the medial antebrachial and medial brachial cutaneous nerves innervate the cutaneous portion or the skin. So moving on to our last portion of the brachial plexus, we have the branches. And then each cord actually breaks up into 2 branches each. So we have, I'm just going to go ahead and extend that one out. This is the musculocutaneous. The second branch of the lateral cord comes all the way down and connects with the one of the medial branches. And then the second branch for the medial cord. And then I just wanted to take a second here to note that this is makes up that M. That makes it easiest when you are looking at the body to kind of get your orientation of where that brachial plexus portion is. And so you can use this M shape and how they connect to then orient yourself. So onto that posterior cord, it has 2. And I always draw this lower branch thicker, and I'll explain why in just a second. So on to labeling. We have the musculocutaneous. This is axillary. This is radial. We have the medial. And then the ulnar. All right. So as far as the portions of brachium and antebrachium that they innervate, this musculocutaneous innervates the anterior portion of the brachium. The axillary nerve actually just stays around the glenohumeral joint. So it stays up here around the shoulder. The radial nerve, a radial branch, innervates the posterior brachium and antebrachium. So it innervates throughout the full length of the arm, which is why it's so thick. It needs a lot. It's a lot of just innervates a lot. So it needs to be thicker to to run that full length of that arm. So posterior brachium and antebrachium. All right, so this medial branch, it innervates the anterior portion of the antebrachium. And then this ulnar branch is the medial portion of the antebrachium. And then an easy way to kind of, not easy, I guess what's cool about this to help remember kind of what segments of body these branches innervate. So when we're looking at this anterior brachium, we look back, both anterior divisions funnel right into this portion, to the musculocutaneous branch. So of course it's anterior. Looking at the radial, it's posterior brachium and antebrachium. So posterior, all 3 of these posterior divisions funneled into the posterior cord, and then into that radial branch. This medial branch has anterior, and when you look at it, all 3 of these anterior divisions funneled into this medial branch. And then that ulnar branch off that medial cord. So that's the total brachial plexus and all of those innervations for those nerves. Looks like a lot, but it all kind of makes sense once you look at it as a big picture. So I hope you guys learned a lot, and thanks for watching.